A few months ago, I quit my first big girl job. It was a corporate job downtown, and the money was awesome. It was decent. However, I was having like headaches, migraines every day, getting, harassed, the whole shebang. Everything you've heard before, you name it, it happened, and some. And then it just so happened I had found my way back to God right after I graduated college, and then I got this job. And because of my stress trying to manage that, things started shifting and moving around, where I felt further and further away from where I was with God. And I felt like a calling that I wanted to increase that. So I did. I'd still be reading my Bible, my devotionals and everything on my lunch break, everything, just trying to just still stay connected to Him, reading my Bible app, everything. But I still kept dipping and dabbing with worldly things, like, picking people I probably knew was not who He said was my husband or a person or whatever, and, drinking. That's why I gave that up this year. And yeah, like, leave that job though. If it's causing you emotional turmoil, spiritual warfare, all that other stuff, not even maybe warfare, it just feel like you just further and further away from where God said you were. Because I think we need to start looking at jobs as like our missions, not final destinations. Sometimes He has you go, because I know I connected with some people while I was there, and I know I helped one lady, kind of increase her walk with the Lord, amongst other things. So I felt as though I served my purpose while I was there, and then it was as if it was my time was up to move on. But I was telling God, I'm like, but what am I moving on to? Where am I moving on to? And I don't know, but I feel so much better, so much lighter. God has provided and come through for me month by month, day by day. And today I had my first pet sitting job, because I do personal training. I want to start doing meal planning and meal prep and things like that as well, instead of just only including that in training services. But another thing I wanted to try out, because I just was like, am I going to go back to corporate? I was like, nah, I'm not. Or I don't want to. Let's say that. I want to be in control of my schedule. Despite my business being where I want it to be, to have the volume where that's all that I do, I still want to be in control of my schedule. And I'm just issuing out to you to take control of your life. It may seem out of control, and a lot of things are out of your control, but take control of what you can and where you can. And I'm telling you, when you start making those micro grasp of, I'm taking control of this area of my life, I'm taking control of this, and if it's something that's out of your control, pray about it and give it to God and ask Him. Seek Him first in all things, but especially when you're weary or confused on which way to go or what to press into it. But I believe I heard a podcast, Jeff Logan, my boy, he told me one time, well, he didn't tell me specifically, but individually, but he basically said, go 1,000 miles per hour in different directions, and just see which one you get the furthest. Like, see which you haven't exhausted every option. Even with my personal training, I know I haven't exhausted every option to say, you know what, I'm a failure at that. I have to leave that alone. And until you get to that point with anything and everything in your life, keep going at it. Keep working at it. I'd rather be managing a bunch of different side hustles in my business versus being miserable Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 or 7 to 6, really, because you got to include traffic, and being micromanaged. Now I have my own schedule. I build in my own clientele. I accept when I do contracting work. I accept when I want to, and things are working out slowly but surely. And I believe the same for you. So if you're seeing this, let this be your sign that it's your time to take a step out in faith and leave that thing or that person. Because even for myself, I now surrender every person and friendship and man from my past, and I lay it down. And I know I've done everything I can do to try to mend things I did or did not break, to forgive those I didn't never want to forgive. And I think we all have to learn how to do that within life, to become free, not for them but for ourselves. And you deserve to live in the freedom that God, that Jesus, a man, died for you, was crucified for you to live in. Don't live in modern day slavery by man or by this world. Until next time, Big CLT.